Alrighty, folks, we're still 4-0 in our last four extra daily picks on my premium page. Of course, let me explain. Our extra daily pick yesterday, it got rained out. So we're actually going to have a bonus extra daily pick going off here today as well. And I'll tell you what, that package costs just 9 cents a day for 30 days worth of plays. You actually get access to the extra daily pick along with my daily best play every single day during that time frame. So once again, got rained out yesterday. Still 4-0 in that package. Doing a great job this week. Red hot. And before we go ahead and move on, just want to take a quick timeout and welcome you to my Major League Baseball free pick video here today for Wednesday, July 10th, 2024. Happy Wednesday to you. Happy hump day to you. The weekend's right around the corner. We're halfway there. Of course, my name is Brock Page. I've been dishing out free sports picks on YouTube since 2016. And I'll tell you what, if you want to unlock all of my premium selections that I give out on a daily basis, you may want to think about signing up for my full access, all-inclusive Chairman package. Now, Chairman members get access to every single premium selection of mine, every single package, every single day for the next 30 days. Folks, I'm currently, once again, 4-0 in my last four extra daily picks. 3-0 my last three crowd pleaser teasers. And finally, we are 9-2 in my last 11 board member tier package picks. And the good news is we have plays going off in all of those packages here today. And they're all included with your purchase of the Chairman membership. The site is patreon.com/BrockPage. And with that, folks, we're going to dive into some free content. We got a pair of doubleheaders here today, so a lot of games to go over. We're going to start off with the Royals taking on the Cardinals. That is game one of a doubleheader. That'll be a 1:45 Eastern first pitch. St. Louis is minus $1.35 in game one. Totals 8.5. Andre Polani for the Cards. Alec Marsh for Kansas City. And Marsh has actually recorded 75 strikeouts on the season, and he does have a handful of wins. Of course, these Royals pitchers as a whole, they've actually been tough to hit against on the road. They're currently in the top 5 in fewest runs allowed while traveling. And they're facing a St. Louis lineup who really hasn't been overly crisp at the plate. These guys are in the bottom 10 in run production at home this year. And of course, on the mound, starting pitcher Andre Polani, he comes into today's ball game with an ERA in the 4s, along with a 1.44 whip. Now, total-wise, 6 out of the Cards' last 10 ball games did get over the total. They also went 6-3 to the over in their last 9 interleague home games. Give me the Royals plus $1.15, over 8.5 in game one. All right, next matchup, Twins-White Sox. That is also game one. That'll be a 2:10 Eastern first pitch. Now, Minnesota's minus $1.55 in game one, totals 8 runs. Looks like Bailey Ober for the Twins, Eric Fetty for Chicago. And, even though Fetty's been a rare bright spot for the, Sox, him and Garrett Crochet, the White Sox continuously fail at the dish. They're dead last in the majors in run production. And out of their last 10 head-to-head gatherings, well, the Sox have been held to just 3.6 runs a game. And we could see more of the same here today with Bailey Ober on the bump. He's 8-4 with a 1.10 whip. Of course, Ober has also punched out 100 batters through 94 innings of work, averaging a little bit over a strikeout an inning. Of course, equally as impressive, it's been this lineup of hitters. Minnesota's actually a top 5 run-producing team in the league. Carlos Correa hits .303 with the most RBI in the lineup. And Jose Miranda bats .332 with an OPS in the 900s. Give me Minnesota minus 155, under 8 runs in game one. All right, next matchup, Twins-White Sox, game 2. And that'll be a 5:40 Eastern first pitch. Now, Minnesota favored a little bit more in game 2. The Twins are actually minus 170 with the total at 8. Looks like Pablo Lopez for the Twins, Drew Thorpe for Chicago. Now, contrary to game one, I actually think in game two, I think the White Sox can. I almost say some the White what? The White Sox. I think the White Sox can stay in it. I think Drew Thorpe can keep them in game two. He's 3-1 on the year with a 1.13 WHIP. And out of 26 plus innings of work, the righty's got himself an ERA in the threes. And as bad as the White Sox have been, well, they are covering the run line in 64% of their divisional home games. So they are doing a nice job keeping those games close. And they're facing a Minnesota squad who's got a losing record against the run line in their divisional contests. Of course, on the mound, Pablo Lopez has certainly allowed his fair share of runs. He's got an ERA of 5.18 along with 7 recorded losses on the year. Now, total-wise, I actually think Game 2 can potentially get over the number. 7 out of Minnesota's last 10 ball games got over the line. Meanwhile, Chicago went 8-2 to the over in their last 10 themselves. Give it the White Sox plus 1.5, over 8 runs in Game 2. Next matchup, Cubs, Orioles, 635 East. Baltimore's minus $1.80 at home, totals 8.5. Corbin Burns for the O's, Shota Imanaga for the Cubs. And as good as Shota's been, the Cubs did take the loss in 2 out of Shota's last 3 starts. And a lot of Chicago's issues this season have been offensive related. They're a bottom 5 hit producing lineup in the league. And they're going to face a 9-3 Corbin Burns, who actually has punched out 105 batters on the season. The righty's currently got an ERA of 2.32 along with a 1.02 WHIP. Of course, at the plate, the O's continue to score more runs a game than any other club in the league. Gunnar Henderson's got the 3rd most homers in the majors, 3rd highest OPS average as well. And of course, Adley Rutschman, he's got an on-base percentage of .383 along with a 3.1 WAR. Now, 3 out of the O's last 4 at Camden Yards got over the total. They're also 60% to the over in their last 10 at any location. Meanwhile, 6 out of Chicago's last 10 ball games got over the line themselves, giving Baltimore minus 1.5, over 8.5 runs. All right, next game, Guardians-Tigers, 6:40 p.m. East. Cleveland's minus 145, total 7.5. Tanner Bybee for the Guardians, Reese Olson for Detroit. And even though Olson's been consistent, the Tigers just don't want to win for the guy. He's 3-8 on the year despite some really strong outings. Of course, at the plate, the Tigers are a bottom 5 run-scoring team at home in the American League. And they're squaring off against Tanner Bybee, who's 7-3 with an ERA in the threes. Now, the righty's also punched out 115 batters. He's also got a 1.12 WHIP. But even if Bybee struggles here today, the Guardians are a top 5 run-producing team in the American League. Stephen Kwan bats a Major League best .363. Also has the 7th highest OPS average in the bigs as well. Meanwhile, Jose Ramirez has 23 homers and the most RBI in the AL Central. Now, total-wise, the Guardians have gone 67% to the under in their divisional road games. They also saw 6 out of their last 10 meetings with the Tigers stay under the line. So if you're into historical trends, plenty of unders to go around. Give me the Guardians minus 145, under 7.5. All right, next game, Mariners, Padres, 6:40 p.m. East. San Diego's minus $1.50, total 7.5. Michael King for the Pods, Bryce Miller for Seattle. And I'll tell you what, don't let Miller's record fool you. This guy's thrown really well for most of the season. He's got 97 strikeouts and an ERA in the threes. And no real surprise here, the righty's got a stingy 1.08 WHIP. And I'll tell you what, to be fair, this entire Mariner pitching staff has been pretty outstanding this season. These guys allow fewer hits a game than any other staff in the majors. And they're going to face a Padres team who lost their last 3 straight. And they've struggled against the run line recently. As a matter of fact, the Pods failed to cover in 3 out of their last 4 at Petco Park. As far as the entire season's concerned, well, these guys are covering in just 38% of their home games. Now, total-wise, the Pods saw 60% of their interleague home games stay under the total, while the Mariners are 17-8 to the under against National League opponents. Give me Seattle plus 1.5, under 8. Next game, Yankees-Rays, 6:50 p.m. East. Tampa Bay is minus $1.20, totals 8 runs. Zach Eflin for the Rays, Marcus Stroman for New York. And Stroh's gone 7-4 on the year with an ERA in the 3s. And I'll tell you what, as bad as the Yankees have been, well, they do typically hit well on the road. These guys average more runs a game away from home than any other roster besides one. Aaron Judge leads the major leagues in homers, RBI, and OPS. And Juan Soto's walked 77 times already, has an on-base percentage of .427. And they're going to face Zach Eflin, who's got a handful of losses and an ERA of .419. And out of 15 divisional home games this year, the Rays took the loss in all of those contests besides 4. Now, 3 out of the Rays' last 4 at the Trop stayed under the total. They also went 7-3 to the under in their last 10 at any location. Give the Yankees plus $1, under 8. Next contest, Dodgers-Phillies, 7:05 Eastern first pitch. Philadelphia is minus 145, totals 9 runs. Christopher Sanchez for the Titans, Gavin Stone for the Dodgers. And I'll tell you what, Stone's been real tough to hit against this season. He's got an ERA in the low 3s, 9-2 record. And as good as the Phils have been at the plate, it's actually the Dodgers who are in the top 3 in runs per game themselves. Shohei Ohtani leads the National League in homers and OPS. Freddie Freeman's got an OPS in the 900s, along with a 3.6 WAR. And out of the Dodgers' last 10 gatherings with Philadelphia, they've been able to average double-digit hits a game. That actually includes that debacle last night. Now, total-wise, the Phils saw 6 out of their last 10 ball games get over the total. Meanwhile, the Dodgers went 9-1 to the over in their last 10. Give me Los Angeles plus 1.5, over 9. Next game, Rockies-Reds, 7:10 Eastern start time. Cincinnati's minus 175, totals 9 runs. Frankie Montas for the Reds, Kyle Freeland for Colorado. And even though Freeland's blown chunks for the most part, the Rockies did get the W in his last 2 starts. Now, more recently, the Rockies have done a nice job cashing in on the run line. They covered in 6 out of their last 10 ball games, and they're facing a Cincy team who's definitely been awful at the plate. These guys average fewer hits a game than any other roster in the National League. Now, no real surprise here. These guys do have a losing record at the Great American Ballpark. Meanwhile, on the hill, Frankie Montas, he's just 4-6 on the year for the Reds with an ERA of .419. Now, 4 out of the Reds' last 5 in their own stadium stayed under the number. They also went 60% to the under in their last 10. Meanwhile, 6 out of Colorado's last 10 ball games fell under the total themselves. Give me Colorado plus 1.5, under 9. Next matchup, A's Red Sox, 7:10 Eastern start time. Boston's minus $1.90, totals 9.5. Nick Pivetta for the Bo Sox, J.P. Sears for Oakland. Now, Sears is just 5-7 on the year with an ERA close to 5. And at the plate, the A's have been, well, pretty pitiful, especially on the road. These guys are dead last in the league in hits per game while traveling. And they could have some problems with starting pitcher Nick Pivetta this year. The Boston righty has 78 strikeouts and a 1.14 whip. Of course, at the plate, the Bo Sox are in the top 10 in hits per game. Now, total-wise, the Red Sox did hold Oakland to just 3.1 runs a game in their last 10 gatherings. The A's have seen nearly 60% of their road games stay under the total this year themselves. Give me Boston minus 1.5, under 9.5. All right, next game, Nats Mets, 7:10 p.m. East. The Mets are minus 185 at home, totals 9.5. Luis Severino for the Mets, Patrick Corbin for Washington. And as bad as Corbin's been, the Nats actually have done a nice job against the run line, especially in divisional play. These guys covered in 67% of their divisional road games, and they're taking on a Mets club who's actually been quite the opposite. These guys have covered in just 30% of their NL East contests in Flushing, Queens. Now, New York's still in the bottom 5 in the National League in hits per game at home. Out of Severino's last 2 starts, the Mets allowed 24 total runs. They obviously lost both of those games. Now, total-wise, oddly enough, 7 out of the Mets' last 10 divisional home games did fall under the total. Give me Washington plus 1.5, under 9.5 runs. All right, next contest, Royals-Cardinals game 2. That'll be a 7:45 Eastern start time. St. Louis is minus $1.50, totals 8 runs. Sonny Gray for St. Louis, Michael Wacha for Kansas City. And even though Wacha's thrown well, the Royals really just don't want to win for the guy. The righty's 5-6 on the season, and a lot of that has to do with poor plate appearances on the road. KC's in the bottom 3 in hits per game while traveling, and they're facing Sonny Gray, who's 9-5 with 115 strikeouts. Now, the righty's also got an ERA in the low 3s along with a 1.04 whip. And out of the Cardinals' last 10 ball games, they got the W 7 times during that span. Give me St. Louis minus 150, under 8 runs in game 2. Next contest, Marlins-Astros, 8:10 p.m. East. Houston's the $2.25 favorite, totals 8 runs. Framber Valdez for the Stros, Brian Hoeing for Miami. And as good as Hoeing's looked, well, I just can't trust these Marlins bats. These guys are dead last in the majors in runs per game on the road. They're also facing Framber Valdez, who's got 7 wins and an ERA in the 3s. Now, Valdez is also backed by the best hit-producing lineup in the game. Yordan Alvarez leads the club in RBI, OPS in the 900s. And Jose Altuve has the most hits on the roster. He's batting .309. Now, 6 out of Houston's last 10 ball games got over the total. Meanwhile, Miami went 60% to the over in their last 10. Give me Houston minus 1.5, over 8. Next contest, Pirates-Brewers, 8:10 Eastern start time. Milwaukee's minus 145, totals 8.5. Toby Myers for Milwaukee, Martin Perez for Pittsburgh. And the lefty Perez has had a bit of a rough year for the Pirates. He's got just 1 win through 68-plus innings. He's also got a 1.56 whip and an ERA close to 5. And even if he does end up throwing well here today, the Bucs are definitely having significant problems at the plate. These guys strike out more times a game on the road than any other team besides one. And we could see more of the same here today with Tobias Myers on the mound. The righty's got an ERA in the 3s along with a 1.19 whip. And of course, at the dish, the Brewers have done significant damage in their own building. Milwaukee's actually a top 3 run-producing team at home. Christian Yelich bats .331 with an OPS of .944. William Contreras has the most hits in the organization. Now, Milwaukee's last 3 straight home games did get over the total. They also went 60% to the over in their last 10 at any location. Now, Pittsburgh saw 6 out of their last 10 gatherings with Milwaukee get over the line. So once again, if you're into historical trends, you certainly want to think about that one there. Give me the Brewers minus 1.5, over 8.5 runs. Next game, Rangers-Angels. Little AL West action here. That'll be a 9:38 Eastern start time. And it's Texas who's minus 140 on the road here. Totals 9 runs. Michael Lorenzen for the Rangers. Griffin Canning for Los Angeles. Now the Can Man is officially 3-9 on the season with an ERA close to 5. And even if he does have a good outing here today, the Angels continue to struggle at the plate. They're in the bottom 5 in the American League in runs per game. And they're taking on a 5-4 Michael Lorenzen, who's got an ERA in the 3s, along with a 1.18 whip. Now, this Ranger pitching staff has also done a nice job keeping runners off the base paths. They're in the top 5 in hits allowed per contest. When it comes to the total, the Rangers held the Angels to just 3.8 runs a game in their last 10 gatherings. And also, Griffin Canning, believe it or not, saw 6 out of his last 8 starts stay under the total as well. Give me the Rangers minus 140, under 9. Next game, Braves, D-backs, 9:40 Eastern first pitch. Now the Braves are minus $1.25 away from home, totals 9 runs. Charlie Morton for the Braves, Slade Ciccone for Arizona. Now Ciccone's just 2-6 on the year with an ERA of 6.10. And as a team, the D-backs currently have a losing record at Chase Field. And they're facing Charlie Morton here today, who's got 92 strikeouts and an ERA in the 3s. Of course, as a team, the Braves got the W in their last 4 straight. They actually averaged 5.5 runs a game during that short stretch. Now, oddly enough, 8 out of Atlanta's last 10 ball games fell under the total. Meanwhile, Arizona saw 3 out of their last 4 at Chase Field stay under the line. Give me the Braves minus $1.25, under 9. And with that, folks, we're going to dive into our next and final matchup for the video. It's going to be in that Blue Jays-Giants game. That'll be a 9:45 Eastern first pitch. San Francisco is minus $1.55, total 7 runs. Logan Webb for the Giants, Chris Bassett for Toronto. Now, Bassett's recorded 7 losses this season and has a 1.42 whip. Of course, at the plate, the Blue Jays continue to struggle. They're in the bottom 3 in hits per game on the road. And they're facing a 7-win Logan Webb, who's got an ERA of 3.09. The righties also punched out 103 batters. And when the Giants are at home, they do tend to hit the ball well. They're actually in the top 5 in the National League in hits per contest on their own field. Lamont Wade hits .312 with an on-base percentage of .446. Meanwhile, Elliot Ramos has an OPS in the 900s. Give me San Francisco minus $1.55, under 7. And with that, folks, we're going to jump into our quick pick recap. Give me the Royals plus $1.15, over 8.5 in Game 1. Minnesota Twins minus 155, under 8 in Game 1 of that doubleheader. I'm 4-0 my last 4 extra daily picks on my premium page. White Sox plus 1.5, over 8 in Game 2. Orioles minus 1.5, over 8.5 runs. Guardians minus 145, under 7.5. Mariners plus 1.5, under 8. Yankees plus $1, under 8 runs. Dodgers plus 1.5, over 9. Rockies plus 1.5, under 9 runs. Red Sox minus 1.5, under 9.5. Nationals plus 1.5, under 9.5 runs. Cardinals minus 150, under 8 in Game 2. Astros minus 1.5, over 8 runs. Brewers minus 145, over 8.5. Rangers minus $1.40, under 9. Braves minus $1.25, under 9 runs. Give me the Giants minus 155, under 7. And with that, folks, that's going to do it for me. Don't forget to check me out on my premium site. Now, if you do end up getting a membership here today on patreon.com/BrockPage, just a friendly reminder, you're going to get access to that membership every single day for the next 30 days. As an added bonus, you're also going to get access to all of my cheaper memberships absolutely free. They're going to be included with your purchase. That's why I always tell folks that Chairman Package, it's a full access, all-inclusive membership. It gives you access to every single premium selection of mine, every single package, every single day for the next 30 days. But most importantly, folks, gotta thank you for joining me right here on the free video. Really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. With that said, folks, happy Wednesday to you. Happy hump day to you. And I look forward to seeing you later on today on my premium site. at patreon.com/BrockPage.